Yo, so Kirby's pretty cool. Let's talk about him again. Yeah, that's a good idea. Wait, but wasn't your last video about Kirby? I sense I have made a mistake. Kirby in the Forgotten Land. After 7 years of the same Kirby formula, even I could admit it was starting to get kinda stale. So the creators of Kirby HAL Labs decided it was finally time for Kirby to make the jump to the 3rd dimension. I feel like most people agree that it's strange that it took Kirby this long to jump to 3D when most 2D games jumped in the N64 era, but better late than never, because, spoiler alert, this game's good. The design of this game is something more akin to Super Mario 3D World than anything. Instead of going for a full 3D open world adventure game, HAL stuck to a more level-to-level format, and I feel like that was the best way to go. Would I love a fully 3D Kirby game with a full 360-degree camera? Well, heck yeah, of course. But I feel like keeping it level to level definitely made it feel a lot more like a normal Kirby game. There are some parts of the game where you have a fully movable camera, such as the boss fights, and speaking of the boss fights, they're really good in this game. They all have their own arenas, and the movement patterns are really cool. This is completely off script, by the way, that's why I'm mumbling, but they're really cool. Now, just like most Kirby games, this game has a gimmick, this time being mouthful mode. Okay, I know this looks weird. Let me explain. Kirby just puts his mouth around stuff and can control them. You know what? Yeah, you're right. It's pretty weird. All jokes aside though, this is probably one of my least favorite parts of the game. Now these portions aren't bad by any means. I actually think they're still really fun. But I feel like this game didn't really need a gimmick. First, the game is already 3D, which is brand new for the Kirby series. And also there's one more thing that I feel could be seen as a gimmick. Let's talk about the copy abilities. Copy abilities are a staple in the Kirby series, but they kinda had to rework some of them for 3D. Some abilities have simplified movesets compared to their 2D counterparts, but honestly, they all feel phenomenal to play still, so I really don't care. The new abilities are sick though. There's Drill, which lets you dig underground and find treasure and stuff, and then there's Ranger, where they just give Kirby a gun. What I really wanted to talk about though was the ability upgrades. In this game, you can upgrade your abilities to make them stronger and sometimes extremely overpowered. My favorite upgrade has to be the first Ranger upgrade, where the upgrade just gives Kirby another gun. You find these upgrades in scrolls throughout the levels, but to unlock the upgrades, you need rare stones. And to get rare stones, you have to do probably my favorite parts of the game, Treasure Roads. Treasure Roads are these little timed challenge levels that test your skill with the copy abilities. When I first played this game, I kinda rushed through it without doing too much of the side content, but this time I decided to take my time and do a lot more of the side stuff, and this really made my playthrough a lot more enjoyable. So if you guys ever decide to actually play this game, my suggestion is to not rush through it and see all the things that the game has to offer. Because there is a lot more that I'm just deciding not to talk about in this video because we will be here for 30 minutes. Now I want to talk about the final boss. Okay, so normally Kirby games have a Hellspawn demon thing for a final boss. Sometimes it's a floating eyeball that shoots blood at you. Sometimes it's a jester that turns into the devil. Actually, that one kinda happened twice. But in this game, we get the treat of having 3 Hellspawn demon things. And this one that chases you down a hallway still lives in my nightmares. Anyway, in my opinion, this is one of the best boss fights in any Kirby game. The boss fights in this game already have a lot more depth than in past Kirby games, but this one is just insane. First off, the scenery is incredible. This game already looks pretty dang good outside of the battles, but I feel like just these battle arenas look so good. And oh boy, here comes the 3-minute spiel about the music. You're probably hearing it in the background right now, so you can hear how almost eerie it sounds. The choir in the background and the swell of string instruments make the fact that you are in a fight for your life and the world evident before the boss even starts. And when the boss starts, holy crap, it ramps up. Like mid-fight, I swear this is the most chaotic thing I have ever listened to, and yet it still feels like everything was beautifully composed and put in there for a reason. The trumpet that comes in nearing the end of the boss fight, evoking a sort of feeling of determination. And the motif of the game's main theme just playing throughout. All this makes this track honestly inspiring to someone who loves music like me. If you guys want to hear the full theme without me like talking over it, I'll have a link to it in the description. Alright, fine. I guess we'll actually talk about the final boss now. This boss's attacks are really cool. He attacks you from the background sometimes, throwing these spear things at you, and then comes crashing back down. And then the second phase comes around and he starts ripping open space and throwing meteors at you. He also uses some attacks that are very similar to past Kirby bosses, which I think is really cool. Then for his final attack, he starts to bring Kirby's home planet on collision course with the Forgotten Land. And this is the part where I start to think that maybe Mouthful Mode was worth it, because you beat the final boss by Kirby turning into a semi-truck and running them over. I officially decree that this is the best way a game has ever ended. This game is honestly really fun, and someone getting 3D right on the first try is not a small feat. Honestly, you could tell me this is like the 5th 3D Kirby game in the series, and I'd believe you with how much polish this game has. As I said in my last video, Kirby means a lot to me, and I am very happy that the games are still going strong and still have a ton of heart put into them. I definitely don't have the kind of emotional attachment to this one as I do with Star Allies, but knowing me, I'll probably be replaying this one quite a bit as well. And with all that said, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.